What's up, everyone? Welcome back to MMA Drop Zone. We've got a massive situation developing between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. For weeks, we've been wondering why the biggest fight of 2026, a champion versus champion clash at the White House, didn't happen. Ilia just went on a media tour saying the fight was hours away from being announced before Islam pulled out with an injury. But Islam just fired back with a massive statement basically calling Ilia a liar and saying it was actually all about the money. Let's dive into both sides of this story and see who's telling the truth. So, here is what Ilia Topuria is saying. He claims that on the day of the White House announcement, he already knew he was fighting Islam. He said, "Hours before the full White House card went public, I already knew I was set to face Islam. Then, I got a call telling me Islam had suffered an injury and that Justin Gaethje would be my opponent instead."
¿Cómo de cerca estuvo lo de Makhachev? ¿Salió corriendo como casi siempre o de verdad ese Topuria Makhachev pudo darse?
Estuvo muy cerca. De hecho, horas antes de que se anunciara toda la cartelera de la Casa Blanca, yo, tenía el conocimiento de que iba a pelear en contra de Islam y que se iba a anunciar ese combate. Horas antes de ese anuncio recibo una llamada donde me dicen que Islam se acaba de lesionar y que voy a competir en contra de Justin Gaethje, así que realmente el combate estuvo muy cerca de sucederse.
Ilia's story is that he was ready, and the contract was there, but Islam's body gave out at the last second. Dana White even mentioned a hand injury for Islam around that time, which made fans think Ilia was telling the truth. But Islam Makhachev isn't letting that slide. He took to X and shut it down completely. Islam says he accepted the fight immediately, but the very next day, the UFC told him that Ilia asked for an unrealistic purse, basically asking for too much money. And if you look at the research, Ilia's manager, Malkikawa, actually did go on record saying that the money the UFC offered for the White House card wasn't enough. This gives a lot of weight to Islam's side of the story. It sounds like Ilia wanted unrealistic money, and when the UFC said no, the fight fell apart. Because this deal failed, we are now getting Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje on June 14th. How does that fight end? If you look at the styles, Gaethje is the interim champ for a reason. He's a monster. But Ilia is 17 narrow and has some of the fastest hands we've ever seen in the 155-pound division. Most experts think that while Gaethje will make it a war, but Ilia's youth and technical boxing will be the difference. We're predicting a round 3 or 4 TKO win for Ilia, which will probably lead to him calling out Islam again. But honestly, if the money wasn't right for the first fight, it's going to be even harder to make it happen later this year when both guys want even bigger checks. Who do you believe? Is Ilia telling the truth about an injury? Or did he price himself out of the biggest fight of his life like Islam says? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading all of them. Hit that like button, check the link to buy me a Momo in the pinned comment to support my studies and family, and I'll see you in the next one.